Okay, now we're recording. I was saying that the summertime is a time when you're very focused on your libraries and your communities, and I'm here to help you do that in the summertime. And then in the fall, we have lots of exciting things coming up. The first thing that I want to draw your attention to is the Charlotte Zolotow Award, which is presented by this year Christopher Myers. It's a lecture, excuse me, I said award, I meant to say lecture. It's a lecture that is sponsored by the CCBC, specifically the Friends of the CCBC, the Cooperative Children's Book Center. Traditionally, that lecture is presented on the UW campus, and it will again this year on September 30th, but they also will be streaming the lecture live. I have not seen the live link yet. I don't know if any of you others may have seen whether or not that link has been announced, but I will send that information out when the link is announced. It is at 7 o'clock. Is it 7 o'clock or 6:30? It's in the evening on Thursday, the 30th of September. And I thought that this year, since some of you might be attending the live lecture, others might be attending the virtual lecture, that the day after, let's just have a check-in and we can talk about the lecture, whether you've attended live or whether you have attended the virtual lecture. I don't have an agenda for that check-in, but I do have a Zoom meeting date set for us, and that is the next morning, October 1st, Friday, at 11 a.m. And I have all of the information about the original lecture and about our Zoom meeting the next morning in today's agenda. I also included some information about Christopher Myers from his website and a link to his information on teachingbooks.net and an event poster to today's agenda. I just got really nervous because I heard myself say poster and I thought I sounded like Martha Stewart. So that was a little, I'm sorry if I jumped. So there's a poster link on today's agenda. You're welcome to print that off, post it in your libraries, post it in your communities, and certainly let folks know that it will be a virtual event as well this year, and it will be recorded. Anything about the Zolotow? Oh, okay. Oh, Heather, the poster seems to be a link to a Zoom meeting. It's probably October's Zoom meeting, so I'll fix that link. Event poster. Yeah, that sure is a Zoom. I'll fix that. You know, I had everything ready and I was practicing for today's meeting so much more than I usually do, and I should wing it a little bit more. Okay, I'll fix that. I'll fix the poster after our meeting. Thank you. Okay. And Lynn, thank you. The lecture is 7:30 to 9. Okay. Lynn, have you seen a link for the actual live lecture for the streaming? Okay. Well, I will share that with you all via our e-lists, and I'll send it out a few times after I find out what it is. All right, let me grab my notes. So Zolotow we've discussed. The other big announcement that I have is, remember way last year, about a year ago, we were talking about how we wanted to have a book discussion of The New Kid by Jerry Craft, which was last year's Newbery Award-winning book. Well, the discussions are on. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Lynn, for updating that about the Zolotow lecture. So right before this meeting, I sent an email out to everybody who let me know that you needed a copy of the book for our discussion, or if you let me know that you did not need a copy of the book for the discussion. So you maybe didn't see that email because I did it right around 12:30, but we are still on board for discussing the book. Thanks to Catherine over at Cross Plains. We have some great book discussion questions to start us off with, and I've linked to those in today's meeting agenda. And I've set some tentative dates for that discussion. The first one is at the end of October, October 29th. And the second one, I took that out. The second one is in early December. I'll put those into today's meeting notes and share it out afterward as an email. So those will be Zoom discussions. I have 2 set for this year. We can set some more for the early 2022 as well. For those of you who didn't have a chance or who are brand new, like Hannah and Grace Moran, if she's here from Spring Green, you still have time to let me know. In today's agenda notes, there is a link to a form. It says request book form. So you can fill out that Google form and let me know whether or not you need a book, and I'll get some books sent out to you. I have about 10 copies of the book right now. About 7 people requested it at the end of 2021. So feel free to let me know if you want a copy of the book, and I'll get more books sent out. I'll order more if I need to. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Any questions or any comments about that? Okay, I'll get the dates saved to the agenda. You know what? I'm looking at the meeting notes. That's why I don't have the dates. The dates are Friday, October 29th at 11 a.m. and then Tuesday, the 7th of December at 1 o'clock p.m. So we have one for late morning and one for early afternoon in different dates. We have a lot going on in November, so I don't have anything scheduled for November. And we'll figure it out as we go along and as we get closer. But I'm looking forward to reading the book again and talking about it with my colleagues, with all of you. And as I said, Catherine had shared some questions that she used last year, and I've shared a few other book discussion guidelines for this book and also the CCBC book discussion guidelines. If any of you want to facilitate or co-facilitate, or if you have specific questions for the book, let me know, because this is for all of us and I don't want to be the only person who thinks that she knows how to run a book discussion, because I think you all run more book discussions than I do these days. And then one of the last new ideas that I had, you know, when Catherine from Cross Plains described her Lego program during the August meeting, everybody got really excited. So Catherine reads a book while kids work on their Lego project, and then at the end of the program, the kids get to show off their projects. I thought we should read to each other, and I'm getting a lot of great books in from some of the publishers who send us review copies, and I thought, why don't we start using them by sharing those books? Whether I am reading, I'm going to say but I want volunteers to read, but I'll do the first one or two. I thought I would read either a picture book or an excerpt from a YA or J novel or nonfiction, while participants simply listen or grab a bite to eat. I schedule these Book Bites programs for an early lunch. If you'd like to have lunch with us, if you'd like to work on a craft project, if you want to color, Bethany, absolutely. I was just doodling earlier today. I love it. If you just want to sit and listen and doodle or dream, this is a good half an hour, 45 minutes for you to do that. And I am older than a lot of you, but some of you may have watched, I'm looking at you, Patty, because I think we've talked about this. Some of you may have watched the book bug, or oh no, Cover to Cover in elementary school, where John Robbins he illustrated with pastels while a narrator read something by Betsy Byers, right? Or something from a book from the 70s and 80s. That was always my favorite time of the week, fourth, fifth, sixth grades. I think we even watched the show in seventh grade. 15 minutes listening to a little chunk of a new book that was coming out while John Robbins illustrated. So I want to revive that. I'm not going to promise an illustrator every time, but I want to try that out too. So I'm reaching out to a few illustrators in the area to see if a couple of times a year, if they would be interested in illustrating while one of us reads an excerpt from a novel or from some nonfiction for older kids. I just think it sounds really fun. So we have some dates scheduled for those events as well, and they are listed on the agenda. And those dates are Friday. I thought Friday would be a good day because that's when we watched them at Cochran Fountain City Elementary School in the 80s. Fridays at 11 o'clock. The first one will be on October 15th, and the second one will be on December 17th. Let me know if you have some new books that you want to share, or if there are some books you want me to read. As I said, I'm happy kicking it off, but you all do more programs and story times than I do. And you may want to just listen to some, but if you want to practice reading, want to practice doing a book talk, we're going to be doing this a couple of times a year, maybe every other month for the coming year to see how it feels. And keep keep me posted. Let me know how it feels. And we're going to have our first one in a little less than a month from now. And I thought I have some longer picture books that have recently come in. And I thought maybe I would read some of those. And then we can jump into books for older kids and teens in December. All right. And then the last two items in the announcements category of our meeting simply are, I listened to a really great podcast while I was driving home from Spring Green Public Library last week, the On Being podcast, an interview with Jason Reynolds, and I've linked directly to that podcast in today's meeting notes. The podcast was just really amazing. It was a celebration of Jason Reynolds, of course, but a celebration of books and of writing, of the act of creating. He was given a lot of love out to libraries and librarians, and a celebration of Blackness and diversity and inclusivity. So if you have a 55 minutes and you're driving somewhere, that might be a nice podcast to listen to, or listen to it when you're sitting at home working on a craft or cooking in the kitchen. And then the last one I just added, another fun fact, interesting fact. I saw an article from late August, excuse me, late August, that shows some research that kids who are getting shots actually don't react as strongly. They feel less pain and they certainly feel less anxiety when they have a virtual reality face mask on. So I thought you guys might be interested in that article too. And just kind of, it's a technology, fun fact. And just, I thought it was really interesting. And I'm thinking, I'm going to let my kids at least watch some YouTube videos when we go in for flu shots this year. All right. Discussion. Whew, I'm going to take a drink of water because that was a lot of talking. Every year, South Central places a group order for Folkmanis puppets. And I just got a new Folkmanis catalog in. And it reminded me that it's the time of year when we place that order. I also linked to the Folkmanis catalog, online catalog, in today's meeting notes. For those of you who maybe don't remember, haven't placed orders for a while, or who are new, what we do is once a year we place an order for puppets from the Folkmanis Company, because they're cool and they're awesome and that's what people tend to like. We place the order on behalf of all libraries and we pay the shipping and handling costs. So the only costs your library will incur are the actual costs for the puppets. You will submit either an online, called online order form. We create an order form that then is sent to our office manager, Heidi Moe. And you can send that to her via a paper copy that you can print off from, I'll send it as an email attachment and link to it. So you either print it off and submit your order and send it to her through delivery, or you can send it as an email attachment. Last year we had a really small order, and that's fine. I mean, last year was 2020 and this year's 2021. I want to ask if people are interested in doing it. I think we have to have an order of at least $100 to make it worth our while to get the educator discount. That's the other thing I forgot to mention. The puppets come at an educator's discount. So you save some money on them ordering this way, and we pay for shipping and handling. I thought if we have one, if we have an order this year, that we would have it due probably mid-October. But I wanted to get your feeling for that. Is this the year to do a Folk Manus puppet order, or are is there no interest in it? All right, Lynn is saying yes.
I was going to say Columbus is interested. Uh, so the other Storytime librarian here and I both absolutely love puppets. And so we ordered a few last year, but there are a few that we weren't able to order because budget didn't allow for us. So we actually have some that we've been keeping an eye on. So
Thanks, Bethany.
definitely interested in jumping in on that.
Thank you. Thank you. And Deb from Portage County. Okay, thank you. I think Angelica, I saw you were interested. Okay, that sounds great. So we'll do an order this year, and I'll talk to Heidi about setting that up this afternoon. As some of you who have done the order in the past with us know, sometimes items are discontinued even though they look available in the online catalog and in the paper catalog. So sometimes we get them a couple of weeks later, and sometimes they're just completely discontinued, and we let you know when to do that. So we will send out the order form, and then South Central will bill your library for those puppets. Okay, so South Central will be billing you, not Folk Manus. Is there anything else I've forgotten, those of you who have done orders with us for a few years? Oh, Deb said you cannot. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Any other questions about Folk Manus? There's some great new ones. There's always great new ones as well as the classics. So I will get that out this afternoon, or I'll work on it this afternoon. Okay, the other topic that has come up since last month's meeting, is there were a few conversations in Kids List about the country and states series books. And the discussion was, they're really expensive. What are other people doing with these collections? Are you updating them? They're really expensive. Are there other resources that you recommend, including web resources? And are there vendors you recommend? So I don't have the answers to that. I'm happy to research, but before I do that, I wanted to turn it over to the experts here in today's meeting to have a conversation about what you do with those books, with those series books about countries and states. A question that I have is, are you finding that teachers are assigning kids not only to work on projects that require these materials about countries or states, but are requiring students to show that they had at least one print material. Is that still something that people are finding? Not really. Yes, in Sun Prairie. Okay. Lynn, how often do you update those books? Do you have an estimate or a ballpark figure?
Well, I feel like I'm a little bit different with the size of library that we are, or
Yeah.
the size of collection that I have. I actually am just weeding mine right now and getting rid of everything that's old. So I'm updating everything to within the last 5 years, like every country I can get my hands on. So, but I have a different budget situation
Yeah.
probably than a lot of smaller libraries. So I don't feel that I'm probably a good source comparatively.
Thanks for your input, though. And Bethany from Columbus which is a smaller library than Sun Prairie, but I think close to the size of libraries that a lot of people are coming from. So Sun Prairie is bigger. Bethany in Columbus is medium to small, but I would say medium. And she is looking at Penworthy.
Yeah, and I can insert here. So I don't know exactly if the schools are assigning the books, but I know because of where our nonfiction section is, the state books are at child level and they go out a lot. So even though teachers are not assigning them here, they are going out a fair bit. The other thing is during the summer months, I've had families that come in and, oh, we're traveling to this state. Let's read about this state before we go. So that happens once in a while as well.
That's great, Bethany. Thank you. And you're working with Penworthy. Carrie from Wisconsin Rapids. Hi, Carrie. Wants to know if anybody has favorite sets. I guess that's what I'm interested in too. So we know that there's Penworthy as a vendor. Other sets. I'm trying to. Where's my mouse? Here it is. Check the chat to see if I missed anything. Crystal from Monticello wants to update theirs. We're oh, Patty from Cambridge. Penworthy has presidents too. Would this be the type of project where, do you want me to do a little looking? I'll look to see what Penworthy has and what some other vendors have, and possibly see if we can do a group order in 2022 for people who are interested. Sometimes I get, I think you all get those too, the emails from some of the vendors saying, discounted states and country sets. So that will be the action step. I will look for vendors. Send me your favorite vendors, favorite series, favorite publishers. So send me those. And I can do a little bit of digging and see if I can find a deal for a group order. In the meantime, or at the same time, would it be useful to have a very short list of country and state websites and even ideas about how we can use the databases that BadgerLink provides us for fast reference or ready reference for digital information? Okay. And then I will dig out my weeding. Oh, what you got, Lynn?
Would you guys like a tour of what I have? like different series. That was just the easiest thing to do, was to go grab them from my shelves.
Yeah, definitely.
So this is the passport to blank country. These are all published in the last couple, like this one happened to come out this last year, this particular title. This is a capstone series. So if you work with Maris Balkan at all, he carries these, or you can order straight from Capstone. And these are like middle, like, middle grade, middle elementary-ish. Like lots of facts, but not overwhelming. So it's like world passport, or your passport to blank country. I'm not sure what the series title actually is.
Okay.
Then there's Exploring World Cultures. And these are a couple years older, maybe. This one happened to come out in 2018. And these are slightly harder, a little more text, but lots of facts still. And these are by Cavendish Square. So these are on the very easy end, the let's look at blank country, with the like big pictures and smaller bits of text. So more on the early elementary or preschool, and these are by Capstone. And this one just came out last year. This particular, most of these have like a set of countries that comes out like every year, like 6 or 8 a year or whatever. And then this is one I have on standing order from Cavendish Square. And they have like, a boatload of countries, and they come out like 10 or 15 a year, something like that. It's Cultures of the World. And this is like the heavy hitter for upper elementary, or a kid doing, more of a report, like the more. So I keep this one on standing order, because then it just replaces itself every so many years with up-to-date information. And this is, Cavendish Square. Cultures of the World. And then these I've kept, even though they're a little bit older. It's the blast off readers exploring countries, just because they're good lower, or like easier readers, but with those like kind of like, pulled out boxes and everything that kids really like. But now some of the facts are getting outdated, so I'm really torn on getting rid of these. So, but like this one is from 2012, so it's almost 10 years old. So these are by Bellwether. So there's a short tour of some of our country series here in Sun Prairie, if that helps anybody. I don't know if that helps, but maybe that helps somebody.
Lynn, thank you so much. I'll link to those series in the notes. And let's see, Heather is asking, what's the best way to order them?
I don't know, Heather. I could ask my Heather in tech services here, because she's handled my standing order for like 15 years, and she'd be able to tell me how that got set up, because I honestly don't remember. It's seriously been 15 years, so I honestly don't remember.
Is that through Maris too?
I can't remember. I don't think Maris carries Cavendish Square. He carries Capstone, Child's World, and one more. I'm blanking. Capstone, Child's World, and somebody else.
Okay.
I don't think it's Cavendish Square.
I
think we've gone directly through the because we've had it for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But I can find out from my Heather here in tech services how that's handled.
Thanks, Lynn. I mean, I'm even wondering if it would be helpful to have, like, I could contact Maris early next year, and maybe we could do a group order, because he's so good to us, to libraries in the region, see if we can get a discount. So I'll play around with that. and I will report back to you in November.
Do you have Maris's contact info?
Do you have it right there? Because I would have to look it up. It's been so long since I've had any contact.
I've got it right over here. I can.
Will you send it to me?
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'll share it with everybody too. Thank you, Lynn. Okay. And this really is supporting more and more. I want to get back to helping with collection development, helping you connect to books, and help you connect to the wisdom of each other. So this is a great example of that. Lynn, thank you so much. And Bethany, thanks for asking the questions. Thanks everybody who started the questions off last month. Anything else about country or state or series books? Okay, thank you. The other topic, and we've talked about this in the past, just to let you know that the 1000 Books Before Kindergarten app is going away. The app that we contracted through Bridges library system is going away on December 31st of this year, and it's not going to be replaced. Some of you are using Beanstack to keep track of your 1000 Books Before Kindergarten participants and registration. If you are, would you send me links of just examples of what it looks like so we can share those out with others? And then I wanted to let you all know, thanks to those of you who have contacted me the last month to let me know that the actual 1000 Books Before Kindergarten official organization, that they have created an app, and I've linked to it in today's notes, and it's free. It has, the logo from the 1000 Books Before Kindergarten program. And I think that might be a really great alternative. Is anybody using that right now, or has anybody played with it? Thanks, Lynn. With that app. It's okay if you haven't. I just wanted to fill people in. I had some questions about it, and I didn't know about it. I didn't know that it was a thing.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a thing either. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Not kind of related, but not really.
Uh-huh.
So I know that Beanstack has been made available. And our library did not take advantage the first couple of years because we had a contract with Reed Square.
Uh-huh.
Our contract is up, so we may be interested in changing to Beanstack. Is that still possible?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Beanstack is purchased with federal dollars. It's a state contract, so it's available to all libraries in the state of Wisconsin. And I keep saying that I will have somebody from Beanstack talk about what 1000 Books Before Kindergarten project would look like on Beanstack, and I promise I'll check on that and get back to you, or maybe even schedule a half an hour presentation. Is anybody, I know a few of you are using Beanstack. Portage County is. Any other
This
comments?
is also I don't know if this has been talked about, but Beanstack signed a contract with the state of Wisconsin schools. So they may be implementing Beanstack in the coming years. So this was something that the Columbus School District here was actually considering before they got the state contract. So we had already almost started working in tandem, but that is a thing. So if you find out that your school is starting to implement it, definitely get in contact with your rep and talk about working in tandem, because that way we're not competing with the school and it'll be easy for them to transfer into like summer mode for us and then fall and winter mode for school.
Bethany, thank you. I did not know that.
Yeah, it came in on the Beanstack announcements.
Okay.
Not everybody gets those, especially if you don't have Beanstack. Sometimes I feel like they're spamming, but at the same time, sometimes it's very relevant.
That is good information. That is not, but that was not on my radar at all. So please keep sharing news like that. Thank you. Fitchburg is using Beanstack for summer and 1,000 books. Thanks, Kristen. Yeah, I need to get that discussion about the benefits of Beanstack scheduled pretty soon. And I'm going to be looking for expertise because I certainly don't have the expertise in using it, but I can make the connections happen. Anything else about 1,000 books before kindergarten or early literacy programming in general that you'd like to discuss right now or questions? Okay. Finish taking my notes. All right. So let's move on to the next topic that I have listed here, is the ongoing discussion about programming, about fall programming, either big concepts. You want to talk about virtual or in person, or even if you want to talk about some really great specific programs that you've held that you're going to hold again this year that you want to share information about.
So we've been renovating. So we've been able to use that as kind of our excuse to not have anything in the building. But we're running out of time on that. We're going to be back together soon. But we are doing, I'm starting out the fall with outdoor programming as much as I can until the weather turns south. And then I'm going back to kits again. And I think that's foreseeable through most of the winter as far as at this point. I know, you know, the younger kids still aren't vaccinated, and that's a concern. So we are still planning to go ahead with not in person for the near future, as far as I can tell. And I'm just curious as to what other libraries are doing as far as that goes.
Go ahead, Patty.
I'm going to try an in-person story time tomorrow. It's kind of interesting. We have a coffee shop in town who's doing in person. So little competition. So we feel if the coffee shop is offering it, we better offer something. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to make it shorter. And I'm also going to put something on Facebook. And we're also going to have take and makes. So we'll try it out.
And are you doing that right in your community room, Patty?
Yes.
At the library?
Wednesday, Friday mornings, story time short. So I'm just going to have a couple stories, couple songs.
What days did you say?
Wednesday and Friday at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Wednesday and Friday. I guess tomorrow is Wednesday.
Yeah, I'll do the same thing both days though.
So Crystal from Monticello responds that she's doing outdoor programming and that the virtual stuff doesn't go as well, isn't as well attended. If you take a look at last month's meeting notes, there were some examples of when virtual programs have been working out well. I'm remembering book discussions for older kids, teen programs, the Lego program, and some of the craft programs are working well for folks. So take a look at those notes from last month. They're linked to today's agenda. Okay, Angelica in Monona, Take and Make, and the outdoor programs. Patty reminds us that story walks are still going full force. Oh, Bethany, your hand is raised.
Yeah. Um, so during the summer, we did a lot of outdoor programs because the weather was good, and that's kind of what we geared it for. So we tried to do outdoor story times, and we tried to do like some of our crafts stuff and that sort of thing. And then we took what we had left over and converted those into kits. So I was still like in the kit mindset, but also making that available. And then in some cases, like I'd have the kits already made up. So then they're each getting their individual bags, and of course, socially distanced and that sort of thing. Right now, so starting in September, we have an extra space as a annex, if you will, to the library where we're going to be running programs because we have a little bit more space over there. It's also where we keep our friends book sale permanently up. And so we started that in September. Today's the first day that we've had 2 people for story time. The first week we didn't have anyone. Last week we actually did it outside because we had a horse come to the library lawn, and that was really awesome. So I started my Columbus position about 3 weeks before the shutdown. So that's probably the most children that I have seen on the library property at one time since I've started working here. So that was really cool. But that being said, we've only had 2 kids come to story time today. And so we also have our after school programs. We are capping all of those, and they have to sign up prior to the event in order to attend. And the last one, so the first 2 that we scheduled, nobody showed. And then this last one that I did, we made bouncy balls, and I advertised it as I cannot make kits for this. So please sign up if you're interested. And we had 1 family that came. So with all that said, like I'm still taking all of those from the programs, converting those into take and make kits, and as I can. And the in-person stuff hasn't really taken off yet. And some of that in Columbus is due to, well, there are people who feel that you don't need to wear a mask, and the city is requiring that in all city buildings we have to be masked up unless we're in a room alone. And like barring health reasons and that sort of thing. So that's ages 2 and up, as per recommended by the CDC. And so there are some families that don't agree with that, and so they don't come. And then there are also those who are very scared of the pandemic and like rightly fearful, and they're not coming as well. So we haven't really found a group of people that are comfortable meeting in person and masked up. So that's kind of where we're at. We're kind of evaluating it as we go through this. The next session for us starts in December. So right now, this is sort of like a trial period. If we're not really seeing families coming for story time, I may just return back to virtual. We're doing 2 virtual story times per month right now. But if we're not getting a group here, then I might as well just do the videos through the winter. So that's kind of where we're at. I hope that's helpful.
very helpful.
I'm trying my first outdoor group thing today. So we'll see. It's a sidewalk chalk program. So I'm going to make available sidewalk chalk for them to chalk up our sidewalks, and we're going to make sidewalk chalk to take home. So we'll see how that goes. And I always just, it's not, I don't have people sign up. I find that it just does not work here. So I just mentioned that, you know, supplies are limited. So if if we run out, we run out. There's only so many supplies I can have.
Thank you, Carrie. When Bethany was describing her programs, it made me remember that last month, Bethany, or was it July, shared her amazing spreadsheet of programs that of Take and Makes, right? Was it Take and Makes that you shared? I'll look back at it. I thought you shared.
Remember the spreadsheet? I know Heather from Prairie du Sac had
It was
a
Heather.
number of things that she shared.
I apologize to you, Bethany, and I apologize, Heather, if you're on the Zoom meeting or listening. It was Heather from Prairie du Sac who shared a great spreadsheet, and I will link to those again in today's notes.
Yep, figured as long as I had spent that many hours putting together those crafts, might as well hope that someone else could get use out of them as well. So a couple of these summer crafts, I've not actually put up the final instruction page yet because I still have not gotten around to do that after the craziness of the summer. But all the crafts from last fall and last spring, then there's the instructions along with any templates or whatever that are needed.
Heather, thank you, and thanks for sharing that. I was so inspired. I just wanted to have a craft night with my girls after I looked through your list of craft projects. All right, what do we have from we have New Glarus and Monona are chatting. So take a look at the chat, and I'll add that to the notes too. I always add the chat logs under the appropriate topic. Oh, yes, Angelica.
So I can share something that we have found works really well for our outdoor programming. We call it a soft registration, where we link a Google form to a program on our web calendar, and we present it as an opportunity for us to connect with the patrons in order to let them know if there's a change of location or a cancellation due to weather. So we don't present it like you have to register, and drop-ins are still welcome. But the feedback that we received through the summer and now into early fall is that people love to get the reminder from the Google form that an event is still happening, because outdoor can be so volatile. You never know, it could be storming one minute and then it could be beautiful the next. So we have a system in place where we just GMAS everybody that's on the Google form and let them know, what's happening. Like today for our story time, we moved locations. So we have like 66 families on the list that have submitted their information in the Google form. And then I just blast out to them and say, hey, the green space is wet and muddy. It's not going to work for us today. So we'll be under the overhang by the parking lot. And then people get that, instant reminder in the morning, and it seems to help really well with spreading the word too, with families sharing that these programs are going on. Because in that email, I always link and say, if you have a friend that's interested, make sure they don't miss out and fill out the Google form. And so we started doing that for not just story times, but for afternoon programs, anything new that we're working on, or like Spanish story times. And it's been interesting. Some programs have a lot of people that are continuing that that model of being connected, while others who were using it over the summer have become kind of comfortable and just show up. So now they just know if, it's either going to be here or here. So it's been interesting, but overall very positive. So we're fortunate to have a big green space where we had like a afternoon program, a math night program in collaboration with the school district. And we had 63 families that showed up. And so we had Monona Bank sponsor a lot of the games and things that we used and put together in grab bags that families were able to take home. So we're finding definitely those afternoon after school programs are working out better. And then story times, today we only had 17 outside, which is pretty low, but our outdoor story time, unfortunately, is right in between when 4K lets out at the local school district. So we're still trying to figure things out with timing and being available.
Thank you so much. I'm going to dig around your web page and will I find the registration, and then I'll link to it so people can see what it looks like. Okay, thank you. Okay, what else do we have going on in the chat? So in Prairie du Sac, Heather said that the virtual programs never have really gone over, and that she's doing take and make bags, but they wouldn't do them together. Oh, so you would do them virtually, the take and make bags.
No, we'd have the take and make bags for people to grab when they were in the library. And then when I was doing the Zoom story times, I just kind of show off the craft for that week, ask if kids had made it. Though now that we're doing our story times in person outside, I haven't usually been dragging my example crafts out with me because that would just be one more thing to carry.
We all know that story. One more thing to carry. Thank you for clarifying that. I'm not really great at multitasking, reading the chat and reading the faces. So thank you for clarifying that. New Glarus shows an example of their grab and grow project at the end of story times. Sometimes talks about making it, but she includes detailed instructions with pictures of each bag. So sounds similar to what Heather described. Thanks, Angelica. Good to see you. Okay, it is 2 o'clock. I think unless we want to talk more about programming, I want to draw your attention to, we have 2 pages at the end of the agenda of things that are coming up. Most of these events are sponsored by South Central, but I've threw a few in there that are sponsored by publishers. Scholastic has Brian Selznick out on the East Coast talking about his new book that's coming out this fall, and he has a couple of Zoom presentations that bookshops out east are sponsoring. We have some information about CCBC Shorts, about upcoming continuing education that South Central is providing. And we still are on track for an in-person workshop in November 11th at Olbrich Gardens. We have the speakers are lined up. Ann Moser from the UW-Wisconsin Water Resource Library will be presenting in the morning about ways to be inspired by water for programs. And then the afternoon, I'm really excited. We have Jackie Weisenhunt, who is going to be presenting a program about science illustration and programs that you can lead and facilitate in your libraries that bring in observation skills and real specific activities that you can try with school-age kids, teens, and even adults. And Jackie's great webpage is linked to the agenda as well. And I'm excited that they're going to be able to present for us in November. So we'll be masking up, meeting in person. Hopefully we're still meeting in person in November, and it'll only be South Central folks. We're not opening up that workshop to everybody as we have in the past. Hi, Bethany.
Is there a sign up for that yet?
Next week. The sign up will be
okay.
next week.
Sweet.
Jean and I will let you know. Jean's on vacation this week, and we just got bios from our speakers. We had hoped that Paula Madej was going to present with Ann Moser about Indigenous waterways and Indigenous water culture. Paula is really concerned about COVID, and so she's not backed out, but she'll present for us another time. But we certainly will still be covering Indigenous practice and looking at whose water do we share, whose land are we on. So we will be including the Indigenous ways in that morning presentation as well. We were reaching out to a few other speakers, so that still is key. Oh, thank you for letting us go 5 minutes over. Carrie, have fun with your sidewalk chalk program. Send us pictures if you take any. Yeah. Send us your instructions for sidewalk chalk. I know we all love saving those recipes and instructions. Hannah, thank you for being the co-host. Welcome. We're glad that you're here. And I'm going to stop recording now. Everybody have a great day. And I will share these notes and recording as soon as they're available.
Thanks, Ron.
You're welcome. Bye, everybody.